Hello friends, this is Dr. Sudhansh Sharma from School of Computers and Information Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Today's session relates to statements and arrays in C. We will be discussing about conditional statements and iterative statements in C programming, and they are jointly used to work with different logics to be programmed in C program. Now, conditional statements which are covered in this session are if construct, if else and if else if. Apart from this, we will also discussing about the switch construct for the under conditional statements. The iterative statements are in fact the looping constructs, and they are using for loops, while loops and do while loops. So these three are the iterative statements, and they can be used in all together with the conditional statements, or conditional statements can be mixed with the iterative statements to represent the different logics to solve a programming problem. So the flowchart structure of an if statement. What is if statement? If statement is the first conditional statement, and it relates to that if something is turning out to be true, then what is to be done, or if something is turning out to be false, then what is to be done. So the algorithmic part, the pseudocode part, the flowchart part of an if construct is represented. Likewise, if a test expression is to be passed on to the if construct, and that within the closing and the opening and the closing braces, we are supposed to write the statements that what is to be done if this expression turns out to be true or false. Now, this expression can be well understood with the help of a flowchart. There is decision box, and where the test expression is written. If text expressions turn out to be true, then we are supposed to enter into the body of f, and if it turns out to be false, then we are not to execute the body of if construct. To understand this, let us see the program, and where the example program to test whether a given number is greater than 10 or not is written. Now, hash include stdio.h, we are including stdio.h, a standard header file for input and output, and we are using the main function to write the body of the program. Now, when opening and close, in between the opening and the closing braces, firstly I am passing a variable, I am declaring a variable of the data type int, and the variable name is num. Now, number is initialized to be 20. Now, I am writing the code that if num is greater than 10, then print the number is greater than 10, and outside the braces I am writing print the number is %d comma number. So, return equals 0. Now, this is if the return type, you may not use this line also, it will be running fine. So, output will be that the number is greater than 10 and number is 20, because the value is 20 and 20 is greater than 10. So, this condition turns out to be true. So, it will enter into the if construct, and where it is written that number is greater than 10. So, first output is number is greater than 10, and then after the execution of the if construct, immediately the line after that is print number is %d num. So, num is initialized to the value 20. So, that is why it is num is 20. Now, secondly, the second conditional statement is if else. That means, if something is done, then if something is true, then do this, otherwise do this. So, to understand this, syntax of the if else construct is discussed, that if some test expression is given, then within the braces you can write what is to be done, the state sequence of statements. After that, else construct is called, and within the braces the sequence of statements is given, where you are supposed to specify that if the test expression is not true, then what is to be done. So far as the flow chart is concerned, you are given a decision box, where if something true is written, if the text expression is turning out to be true, then what is to be done, and if something turning out to be false, then what is to be done. Then that means the false section is taking care of the else section, and true part is taking care of the if section, and we are having the respective output. Now, to understand this, let us see that how to write a program that to check whether a student is pass or fail. Now, hash include stdio.h, again we are using a preprocessor directive, and we are using a standard library stdio.h for input and output, and the main body is covering the code where we initialize. We are not initializing here, we are declaring a variable int marks, and we are asking the user to enter the marks. So we are using the printf function of the stdio.h to write enter your marks, and then we are using the scanf function to read the marks entered by the user. Now if the marks entered by the user are greater than equal to 45, then we are printing that student is pass, else print the student is fail. So this is how if the entered marks are greater than 45, then the answer will be that the student is pass. Otherwise, if the marks are less than 45, then answer will be the student is fail. Now here also you can simplify the program. This was actually to let you understand how if else works in a simple manner, but even if you remove the else construct over here and just write print the student is fail, it will be fine, because when you say you write the program printf enter your marks scanf %d comma and marks, if marks greater than equal to 45, print the student is pass braces closed, and after that you write student printf the student is fail. So when you enter the marks say less than 45, the if construct will not be executed and automatically the control will pass on to only the statement that is print the student is fail. So even without the else construct you will be able to get the same output, but this was actually written to help you understand that how if else construct works. Now the switch statement, many a times there are multiple cases, and for all those multiple cases you need to take a decision. Likewise, to design a menu card, so far as under the category say North Indian dishes or South Indian dishes or continental dishes, so you are having a variety of dishes. So same under the North Indian dishes you are having a variety of dishes, so for variety of dishes you are having the same case. So under this situation you are supposed to use the switch construct, the switch statement is used over here, and there might be a situation where two case statements are being compiled to execute a set of statements. So what do we mean by this, we will be understanding with the help of a programming example. But over here in the flow chart you are having say a case 1 is representing a condition, a class, and for that class some operations are to be done. If the class entered by the user is class 2, then for that class 2 some other set of operations are to be done. So this is how the switch constructs work. Now to understand this, the working of switch construct, let's see a program. This program helps you to identify the vowels entered by a user in a text entered by the user. Now over here, instead of using the printf and the scanf mechanism, we are using the getch function defined in the stdio.h header file. So we are using hash include stdio.h where apart from printf and scanf, getch is again a function which is also being defined over there. So we are writing a program in the main body, we are writing first in C. C is actually to count, C is a variable, vowel, comma and period. These four variables are defined under the category data type int, and all are initialized, the vowel, comma and period are initialized to value 0. So you are using get character and get character function, and when it is dollar, then the user will the program stops taking the input. So switch C, so you are taking the characters. So case A, because vowels are A, E, I, O, U. So if you enter the variable A, E, I, O, U, automatically the variable vowel which is of data type int will be incremented, and when some comma is being entered, then the variable comma will be incremented. If some full stop is there or period is there, that means period variable will be incremented. So the moment your text is having how many vowels, they all are counted and they are being printed under the term vowel is equal to %d and commas is equal to %d, and your periods is equal to %d. So, the program will let you know that the text entered by you is containing how many vowels, how many commas and how many periods. So, this is how the switch statement works altogether. Now, subsequently we are having the iterative statement, that is we are having the for loop, while loop and the do while loop. For loop is having the 3 sections, that is firstly we initialize, then we update the values, we check the condition, and after checking the condition we update the value. That is say for example, I write the statement for I is equal to 0, I less than equal to 10, I plus plus. So, I is equal to 0 is the initialization part, I less than equal to 10 that is the test condition, and I plus plus that is the update to the variable I. Now, while loop, how while loop works, that some condition is tested, that if this condition is true then do this, otherwise do not do, that is stop. So, some decision box is there, and while that condition is true you are executing the set of statements, and if it is false then it is stop. Finally, the do while construct, we are having firstly the what is to be performed, do something, that literally means do this, that is the body of the loop, then test the condition, and if that condition is turning out to be true then re-execute the body of the loop, and if that condition is turning out to be false then just move out. So, these are the 3 constructs. We will be understanding about these 3 constructs through the help of the examples in the coming slide. So, let us firstly discuss about the for statement. Now, for statement, there, as I literally said, that the construct is for initialization, test expression and action. Then we are having a set of statements. Now, let us understand this construct with the help of a example program to write the table of a number entered by the user. So, hash include stdio.h is the first line to be written. After that, main function is called, and in the main function we are writing the program that int abc, where the number whose table is to be printed is say a. So, we ask the user to enter the number enter the number a. Now, we use the for loop for b is equal to 1, b less than equal to 10, b plus plus. So, the initialized condition is that variable b is initialized to 1, and it is checked that whether it is less than 10 or not. If it is less than 10, then the variable value is incremented by a step of 1. Now, the execution happens in the for loop, that is c is equal to a into b. So, I want to say I entered the variable 2, I entered the value 2 and it is passed on to the variable a. So, I am interested in writing the table of 2. So, first value of c will be equal to c is equal to 2 into 1, and it will be printed as 2 multiplication symbol 2 cross 1 is equal to 2, and after that, because 1 is less than 10, it is incremented, that is b plus plus. So, b is now equal to 2 and 2 is also less than 10. So, c is equal to a into b, that is a is again 2 into 2. So, again c is equal to 4, the output will be 2 into 2 is equal to 4. Now, again 2 is less than 10. So, again it is incremented to 3. So, c new value of c will be equal to 2 into 3 is equal to 6, and output will be equal to 2 into 3 is equal to 6, and so on, it will be printed up to 10. So, we are able to write a table of 2 by using this program. Now, let us understand about the while construct. Say we want to dump the input given by user into some file, then we can also use this logic. Here we are simply using that how to put the data entered by a user onto your screen, not we are using the files. So, you can, although you can use this logic, here again we are not using the printf and the scanf functions, standard functions which are defined in stdio.h. We are simply using the get character function. It is quite simple to use, and this program reads the data until a dollar is entered by the user and prints it. Here we use the get character and put character functions defined in stdio.h. So, here the IO, that is the input output of the data, is performed without using scanf and printf function, that is no usage of %c, etc. So, first line of the code will goes like this: at hash include stdio.h. As usual, we are having the preprocessor directives. Then we are starting the program with the main, and within the body we are simply using one variable, that is character C. Now we are using the construct while the condition is true. On the slide you are seeing that when something is we are firstly putting a conditional box, and if that turns out to be true, then we execute the set of statements, and if it turns out to be false, then we stop executing it. So, while C is equal to get character not equal to $. So, the user is continuously entering the text. That text is the compiler is continuously checking that the the character entered by the user is $. Or not. If it is not a $, the program is actually putting those characters onto the screen by using the function put character. The moment user wants to terminate the execution of the program, simply enters $, and when C is equated to $, it comes out of the program. So, that is how this, by using the simple get character put character, we are using this program to put the text onto the screen entered by the user. So, this is the while construct. Now, do while construct talks about that firstly we define the body of the loop. We do some execution of the statements, and we then check the expression. If that expression turns out to be true, then we again execute that body of the loop, otherwise we come out of that loop. Now, let us see how to use this construct, this do while construct, to print 10 numbers. This is the program. So, the actual construct, the pseudo code of this is do within the parenthesis, that is the opening and closing curly braces, we write a series of statements, and after that we simply write the while, and within the braces we write the expression or the condition. So, the program starts as usual with the preprocessor directives include stdio.h, and we are using the main, now we are writing the main part of the program, where within the braces this curly brackets, we are writing our logic that int a is equal to 1, we are using a variable a and initializing it to the value 1, and do, that means now we are specifying the body of the loop. So, we print the value of a and increment a by using the increment operator a plus plus, and we check now that condition a is less than 11. Yes, a is less than 11. So, automatically it will go into the body again, and it will print the incremented value, because after printing the value of a, the value of a is incremented. So, value of incremented a is now 2. So, it will again print the value 2, and 2 is again incremented to 3, and again it is found that 3 is less than 11. So, again it will go to the body. Now, we are choosing it up to 11, say, because when it prints and the last, when a is printed to be 10, 10 is incremented to 11. Now, 11 is not less than 11. So, it will quit from the loop. So, that is why a is less than equal to 11 is taken over here. Now, after that, let us understand one more important programming construct, that is our array. What is an array? Array is a collection of variables of the same type. That means, say we want to have a collection of, if we want to define some, say 100 variables, we cannot define a, b, c, d, e, f, g, h up to a1, b2, a3, b3 and so and so. It has become very uncomfortable to define the variables this way. So, if we want to define 100 variables of, say, integer data type, then we can simply use int a within the square brackets, say 100. So, 100 variables will be specified, say int a within the square brackets 99, because 0 to 99, 0 is the base index of the array. So, 0 to 99 is 100. So, it is a collection of the variable of the same data types, and in that collection of the same data type, the individual variable is known as element of an array, and actually the number passed on, which I said, say int a within the square brackets 99, a is the size of the array. Each element in the array is identified as an integer index. That means the address a0, a1, a2, a3. So, a1 is a variable, individual variable, and it is having the index a first index. So, in C the index begins with the 0, that means the first variable will be written by a within the square bracket, it is 0. So, arrays are in fact can be 1 dimensional, 2 dimensional, 3 dimensional, even n dimensions. So, 1 dimensional array is represented, and 2 dimensional array is again a matrix where we are having rows and columns, and we can have a 3 dimensional array, and these arrays are actually mapped with the coordinates axis, and they are actually mapped with the matrices or so. So, we are not going into those details. So, how arrays are defined in a C program? We are having a data type. So, data type followed by the name of the array, followed by the dimension of the array. Likewise, over here we are having an example, int, marks and size. So, int represents the data type, marks represent the name of the array, within the square bracket we are representing the size. So, as to understand, say I give you an example, int result underscore 2d, within the square bracket we are having 20 and we are having 5. So, int is the data type of the array, that means there are results 2d is the name of the array which is holding the values of the data type integer, and there are 20 rows and 5 columns. Apart from this, int result underscore 3d, within the square bracket we are having 20, 5 and 12. This represents the dimension is 3d. We are having 3 dimensions because there are 3 square brackets. Each square bracket is containing the value 20, 5 and 12. So, this is 3 dimension array whose name is result underscore 3d, and it is storing the value of integer data type. Now, after that let us understand that how to write a program with the help of arrays. So, let us write a program to find average marks using the array variables. So, firstly we include hash include stdio.h is standard line. Now, in the main body we are writing the program. We are declaring an array firstly, int marks within a square bracket 6. So, that means and we are defining a variable initializing it to 0, that is sum is equal to 0. Now, we are having for int I is equal to 0, I less than 6, I plus plus. We want to enter the marks of the 6 subjects. So, firstly, so as to incorporate the interactivity, we are writing printf enter the mark of subject %d I plus 1, because the index starts with 0. So, that is why I is firstly equal to 0. So, we a 0 subject cannot be there. So, we need to have first subject. So, that is why it is written enter the mark of subject %d 0 plus 1, that is subject 1. Scanf %d and marks I, that means marks of the first subject are to be entered, are to be read by the computer, and sum is equal to sum plus marks I. So, marks of the first subject are added to the sum which is initialized to 0. Now, the new value of sum is equal to marks 1 value. Now, because I is incremented, I is equal to 0 and I was incremented equal to 1 and 1 is less than 6. So, again this set of line of codes is executed, and after the execution of this set of line of codes, all 6 marks are being entered by the user, they are being read and they are being totaled up, and the result is stored up in the variable sum. Now, to calculate the percentage, we are supposed to divide the value of sum by 6, because 6 subjects marks are being entered. So, the average percentage of the marks, average marks are written by sum divided by 6. So, this is how the execution of the array program happens. Thank you very much. I hope you understand that how different conditional constructs and array construct are used in programming. In the subsequent session, we will be talking about the different examples which will help you to write the C programs. Thank you.